Good afternoon. Welcome to the first meeting of the Interim Joint Committee on Families and Children. I hereby call this the first meeting, and welcome for those who have missed us so much. We're glad you all are here today, and we're glad to get back in the business of talking about families and children. As a reminder, please silence all cell phones so they are not a disruption to any of the presenters that we have. Do any members have any special guests they would like to recognize? Representative Holloway?
Thank you. This is my daughter, Julie. She's 9 years old. And were you here for the last meeting, or was that Gemma? I think must have been her sister. I can't even keep them straight. But this is clearly her first committee meeting, and she loves coming up to Frankfort. This is her third trip, and I try to bring one of them every time I come, just to help out at home a little bit. So I'm thankful that I'm able to do that.
Welcome. We are so glad you are here with us today. You are the future of Kentucky, so we're glad you're learning about the important legislative issues. As you all know, when I chair meetings, I like to remind people the total number of children in out-of-home care with active placements. And as of June 1st, 2025, that was 8,641. So we still have a lot of work to do to get children in homes. DJ, if you'll please call the roll for the Senate and the House.
Senator Deneen. Here. Senator Funky Fromeyer. Senator Girdler, Senator Herron, Senator Mays Bledsoe, Senator Meredith, Senator Mills,
Yep.
Senator Webb, Senator Williams, Senator Wise, Representative Bojanowski, Representative Callaway,
Present.
Representative Kleins,
Here.
Representative Dietz, Representative Doan, Representative Duval,
Here.
Representative Elliott,
Here.
Representative Holloway,
Here.
Representative Mosier,
Here.
Representative Pollock, Representative Rayburn, Representative Riley, Representative Rorks,
Here.
Representative Stalker,
Present.
Representative Wilson, Co-Chair Carroll,
Here.
Co-Chair Heverin.
Here. Thank you, DJ. Our first presentation today will be the discussion for the Center for Courageous Kids. Mr. Roy and Ms. Cosby, can you please make your way to the testimony table? I had the opportunity to meet with their CEO during session, and I knew they would be a great fit for the agenda during the interim, sharing the good work that they do. As a reminder, today each group will have 15 minutes to present. I will have my timer on. I know that everyone likes to have a concise agenda during the interim. We don't want a lot of long meetings. So if you'll introduce yourself for the record, and then you can go ahead and get started with your presentation. And make sure your green light's on.
Good afternoon. Hi, my name is Brian Roy. I'm the Vice President of Development for the Center for Courageous Kids. And with me is Emily Cosby, the Marketing Communications Manager. And just a thank you to start off with welcoming us here. We're very proud and love what we do, and we're excited to share it all with you today.
Thank you.
All right, so we have been so eager to come into you guys today and share the magical moments of why we do what we do at the Center for Courageous Kids, but we need to set some context and talk about what we do first. So at the Center for Courageous Kids, we offer camp to children in Kentucky, to surrounding areas, other states, and other countries too, that is designed to support those living with lifelong illnesses and disabilities. We create a medically safe and inclusive environment for them, and we do it all free of charge. So that's the best part. Campers are never charged to attend the Center for Courageous Kids. And it all started with the generosity of one woman and her dream, and that's our founder, Miss Betty. Miss Betty was from Scottsville, Kentucky, where the Center for Courageous Kids is located. She had a son who was diagnosed with cancer in childhood. He lived to early adulthood and passed away. And she's also a big fan of NASCAR and spent some time in Florida and was introduced to a camp very similar to how the Center for Courageous Kids operates. And so it planted a seed in her mind of wishing and hoping that there was a place her child could have participated in camp, a childhood rite of passage in her area. And so she created that. She established the Center for Courageous Kids in 2004. She gave 168 acres of her father's farmland and the startup funds to make sure that it could be constructed, and we opened our gates in 2008. So a little bit about what makes us unique is that we offer 2 specialized programs. We operate year-round. In the fall and spring, we offer family weekend retreats for the entire family. The diagnosed child comes with mom and dad, siblings that live in the home, and they participate in camp together Friday through Sunday. In the summertime, we offer independent week-long camp sessions where the diagnosed child comes independently from their family and they get a chance to experience camp alongside other campers going through very similar life situations as them with a similar diagnosis and similar challenges, so they can really bond over that. Since we opened in 2008, we have served over 43,000 campers from 46 states and 13 other countries. But it's important for us to let you guys know that 22,000 of those campers have come from Kentucky. 1,255 applications came from Kentucky in 2024 alone. And CCK has served 94 of Kentucky's 120 counties. And it's one of our biggest goals in the next few years to try to make sure that we reach recruitment from all 120 counties. With those 43,000 plus campers, we've served over 100 different diagnoses. So our medical team works diligently to make sure that no child is ever turned away based on their condition or diagnosis. So we want to make sure that camp can become a reality for every child. And the nurses that we have on staff will work with parents to find a camp session in our calendar that might be right for their child and safe for their child to attend. And then it's important to note one more time that our program is 100% donor funded and no one is ever charged to attend. Since day one, no one has ever been charged to attend. Now, I have a question for the room and just a show of hands. Who has attended summer camp before as a child? Who attended summer camp? Perfect. So lots of people in the room that you might have some memories from when you attended summer camp. You might remember a counselor that was important to you or a friend that you made or something fun that you tried for the first time. And what we know to be true is that parents who send their children to summer camp really want 3 things for their child. They want them to build confidence, they want them to gain independence, and they want them to meet a new best friend. And at CCK, we have developed a program that is intentionally able to do this, and this is how we do it. So, of course, those of you who have been to summer camp, maybe sent your children to summer camp, you know it's fun. Camp is fun. And these 2 girls right here are about to jump in a canoe and have a blast. And they're going to build a connection, a memory, and a friendship along the way. But camp's not just about fun. One thing that CCK does really well is takes it to the next level with our accessibility-focused and inclusive environment. So you've got a camper here, Peter, who he's center stage at stage night. He's facing a crowd of his peers and counselors that are ready to cheer him on with the song he's about to sing. And I think you can tell from the smile on his face that he's going to gain confidence as he exits that stage with the cheering going on behind him, and he's going to carry that moment with him forever. Then we have campers like Joey, who another area that we have at camp is our horseback riding. Joey lives with a physical disability, so he cannot walk on his own. But on horseback, he can get the sensation of walking on his own that he can't get doing anything else. There are lots of programs that can't serve Joey, but at the Center for Courageous Kids, we can. He gets to experience independence when he comes to CCK, because he's not told no, he's told yes when he is at camp. And then when you take all of those 3 points and add them together, you get a story like this camper, Zion, who's been coming to camp since the youngest he could come at 5 years old on a family weekend retreat. He's come back summer after summer until he aged out at 17. And this is a picture of him in his U.S. wheelchair rugby team Paralympic photo. He was or is the youngest wheelchair rugby team member, and he returned from the 2024 Paralympics with a silver medal. And we're so happy to know that CCK has been a part of his journey. A lot of the confidence that he built, the friends he made, the community that he shares helped get him to where he is today, and we hope that for every camper that attends CCK. Up next, we'd like to show a video from one of our campers who attended in 2024, the summer of 2024. He's from Louisville, and this is an inside look at his story at CCK.
CCK has made that experience for me to where I can have fun with other peers, but also be safe, and to know that I'm not the only kid with this disability. CCK has helped me build my courage to enjoy the things that I love.
He gets to come here and he gets to do those things. He gets to do archery, fishing, horseback ride. He gets to do just all that.
I had made so many friends. Without making friends there, I wouldn't be able to go out and make friends all over different states.
He has had these opportunities that really have built him as a kid. CCK has afforded him the opportunity to see himself as a person who is able.
No matter what I'm born with, how old I am, the disability is a ability. And as long as I'm who I am, to me, abilities outweigh disabilities.
When I have him in these spaces like this, I know that he's going to take away something to launch him, to help me feel confident. Maybe parents with children that don't have disability, they don't think about that because they meet this milestone, that milestone, that milestone. But parents with disability, I know that's what we think about. What's the next milestone? What's elementary? What's middle school? What's high school? What's college? What's job? What's love? You send your kid out to CCK, you feel a little bit more hope. Okay, there are people who actually come and love them. So if there are people here who come to love them, those people exist beyond these walls. That's what I want families to know. You just send your kids here, you'll find hope.
To meet people with the same disability as me at this camp, I see a path of light. If people have the same disability as me, if they can do this, I can do this. When you donate your money to CCK, you are changing lives. Your money is going to a place where kids feel respected for who they are. They're finally being understood and having fun while being understood. CCK changes lives for the good.
A little picture from another time, a little picture of a place that we used to go. A word or two about a friend we miss, a fond reminder of a promised kiss, a fond reminder of a vow we made long ago.
Awesome. So with CCK, we look at how we're supported through 4 pillars. The first pillar is through donations. Financially always helps us. It's how we survive. It's how we thrive. Is through the gifts from everyone in Kentucky and throughout the nation. So 63% of our 2024 donors came from Kentucky. The second pillar of support is our volunteers. We're working with a bunch of universities, local organizations, local hospitals in the Kentucky area. A quick story. This is Josh, who's a nurse at Norton's Children's Hospital. He came with us this past week, and his job at this point was to follow around this young camper who needs oxygen not only when he's around camp, but also in the pool. So Josh, a nurse, was following him around. Additional piece to Josh is, Emily, you probably share this a little better. He met a camper he had already known.
Yeah, so when he attended as a volunteer this summer, he met a camper that he was like, I took care of you in the cardiac ICU when you had your heart transplant at Norton Children's. And they didn't know that they were going to be at camp at the same time, but it was a beautiful meeting because that's one of the benefits of being able to work with medical institutions and have them be able to treat within the camp setting is they get a different view of their patients and their patients get a different view of them. So that connection was really cool to see this summer.
And then our third pillar is gifts in kind. We've been lucky to have a bunch of organizations. Fisher Contracting, which is out of Franklin, Kentucky, has built a couple of things recently for us. The campfire ring, which at some point was just a fire ring in a field, is now an amphitheater with a walkway. To the right is the boating and fishing pathway. That was not ADA accessible. They came in and they redid a road for us recently. Tens of thousands of dollars they've given to us. And then the fourth in support is spreading the word. So everyone in this room, everyone out there in YouTube land knows someone or has someone who's experiencing one of these disabilities or diagnoses. Come to camp, come visit camps, send them our way. And then the last piece we want to share today, which is what we're looking at for the future, is some capital projects that we're looking for some investment in. So our art barn, we want to take it to the next generation. So we currently have art, we have musical and woodworking and typical bracelet making. We're looking to bring in new technology. When we talk to kids, they want to be YouTubers and podcasters and they want to do videography work. And we want to bring that to them, not because we want them to do those jobs, but it's because that's where they're at. We want them to do those things with us so they gain independence, they grow, and they make their best friends. So we're looking at building a new art barn to include all those things. The second piece we're looking to do is build a medical lodge. Currently at camp, we can support 8 volunteers. And as we're growing, we're in the need of new healthcare partners, new nurses, new doctors. So we need some more adequate medical space for them. So to ask today, our Art Barn project is at a total of $2.5 million. We have ecstatic to have some matching support already. So a legislative ask would be at 1.5. That medical lodge project is at $2,875,000 with, again, some matching support at 1.125. So the request there would be $1,750,000. And we'd love support either for one, for both, but the total ask would be at 3.2. But again, thank you so much. We love what we do. It's a special place, and I think both of us feel we're stewards to this location that served a bunch of kids, and we'll continue to do that.
Thank you. Wow, what a blessing you all are to so many families in Kentucky and around the world, around the nation. I want to say take all my money. Thank you. I think I know I needed that as a way to start the interim, with a full heart and recognizing how special people are. And so thank you all for that. Thank you for the presentation. We'll go ahead and go for some questions. Representative Riley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I really don't have any questions. I just got a few comments. I live about 25 miles from the campus. I've been on the campus several times. It's beautiful. You can just feel, there's just something you feel there when you're there about how much the people care and how those children are getting so much out of this. And I want to thank you for what you do for those young people. And it's a blessing to have in South Central Kentucky that we have that beautiful program that works for so many young people. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Co-Chair Carroll.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And it was a pleasure meeting with you all earlier today. And we got to talk through quite a bit of the issues with the camp. And I wish I had known about this many years ago as in the organization that I lead, at least for 2 more days I'll be leading. There are lots of families that would benefit from that. And I'm going to carry this information back home and make sure that our community is aware of it. And I know some families are going to be pretty excited about this. Talk a little bit organizationally with the regulatory environment, things like that. What are the things that you all struggle with from year to year? I know financially that's always a struggle as a not-for-profit, but regulatory, those types of things, what are your struggles?
Yeah, so we just organizationally, we operate with about 30 full-time staff across all departments, from the people that take care of our grounds to the people that supervise, the medical safety at camp. And we run a lot of our program with the help of supplemental volunteer work. And we have full-time recruiters on staff that are going to local universities and medical institutions trying to get the word out. But I think just you sharing, Senator Carroll, about, I wish I'd known about this sooner. That's one of our biggest challenges, is having opportunities like this to share about the Center for Courageous Kids. We've been the best kept secret in South Central Kentucky, and we don't want to be a secret anymore. So I think just making sure that awareness is out there about our program, making sure that people know us far and wide, that it's an opportunity that is, as long as you can get to us, we want to serve you. But just awareness of our program is number one. And then I think just recruitment of staff and volunteers to make sure that we can serve our maximum number of campers.
Madam Chair, one more, please. Do you all fall under like the OIG's office? Do they come out and do regular audits as a licensed camp?
So we are connected and accredited through the American Camp Association, and we do receive visits and audits, so to speak, to make sure that we keep that accreditation. And then, of course, just the health department, making sure that our kitchens, our facility, and our pool facility are up to code, and clear the standards in that way.
Okay, very good. Thank you all for what
Yes.
you do. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Are there any more questions? Representative Mosher?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you so much for your presentation. This is amazing. I love seeing this. I had some opportunities to volunteer at asthma camp when my kids were little. My husband's pulmonologist, kind of the same idea, normalizing, activity for kids and giving kids confidence when they have a medical condition. Mm-hmm. So the money that you are seeking to raise, will this allow you to serve more campers? Or I'm looking through all of your numbers, and you serve a lot of campers every year. At any one time, how many campers do you have, and what will this money do to expand that?
At any one time, we're in our summer season right now. And so for a summer session, we can serve up to 128 kids per session. In the family weekend retreat season, we can serve between 30 to 34 families, just depending on the size of the family. So we can take families up to 8 people, and we can take families as small as 2 people. And how that fits in our facility is how many families we can take. So with the hope of these 2 asks that we've made, expanding and making sure that specifically the medical lodging will help grow our medical volunteer base. And once we have more room for medical volunteers, we'll have more room for traditional volunteers, because the housing we're currently using for medical volunteers can be used for that in the future. And then once we can secure more supervision, we'll be able to expand our camper base past that 128 campers in the summer.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I do want to say I was kindly invited. I don't know if I'll be able to make it this summer with the schedule, but if of course, it would be on your own time. Chief Floyd, I hope you're taking note of that I said that. It would be on your own time and time. But, what a great opportunity, especially if you're close by, to take the opportunity to go and visit.
Yes.
And so thank you all very much for your presentation today. We greatly appreciate it. Safe travels going back, and I hope it's a wonderful summer.
Thank you.
With lots of love.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
And we left you guys with a folder of some more takeaways, which has a few more pieces of information that we weren't able to present.
Awesome. Thank you all. Next up will be a discussion on adult protective services and state guardianship programs. Ms. Wayne and Mr. Bryant, can you please make your way to the testimony table? Please introduce yourself for the record, and then you can go ahead and get started. Make sure that when you push your microphone that the green light is on.
Good afternoon. My name's Jessica Wayne. I'm the director for the Division of Guardianship.
And I'm Cliff Bryant. It shows green. Am I just not close enough? Oh, sorry. I wasn't looking at it correctly. My name's Cliff Bryant. I am an assistant director with the Division of Protection and Permanency inside of DCPS.
So we're going to start with guardianship today. So guardianship is governed by KRS 387.500 through 800. So that is for all guardianship, state, family, private guardianship, and then specifically to state guardianship, we are governed by KRS 210.290. I also listed the regulations in case you all are interested in looking into them, but that covers our referral process, our day-to-day activities, and our accounting provisions. So guardianship is a legal representation between the adult, the guardian, the adult guardian, and the individual. And so we call them individual. Unfortunately, statute still calls them ward, so I will be talking about individuals. A guardian is a court-appointed individual or person or entity that has the duty and the power to make personal and or financial decisions for the individual. For the state guardianship, that's when a family member or a private entity is not available or appropriate, and then the court appoints the state as an alternative. In Kentucky, that's done under the Cabinet for Health and Family Services and the Department for Community-Based Services. So here's a little information about the types of guardianship. So these start with a petition within the court. So someone, family, friend, a facility, a hospital, anyone can file a petition starting the process to determine an individual needs a guardian. And that starts through district court in all 120 counties. Usually it's the county where the person resides at. And that county and that judge will either do a trial by bench or by jury and determine if the person needs a guardian, conservator, neither, or maybe a little bit of both. And so that's the different types of guardianship. So if all your personal rights are removed, then you end up with a full guardian. If only partial rights are removed, you get a limited guardian. If all your financial rights are removed, you get a full conservator, and the same thing if you're a limited conservator, so partial. There is a part of the statute that allows for emergency appointments of guardians and conservators, and that is if someone cannot wait for a trial, which usually takes about 60 to 90 days. Under the regulation, this is kind of the process and criteria for the state to be appointed as the guardian or conservator for an individual. We need to ensure that we are the last resort and all other options have been exhausted before the state can be appointed. So here it goes into a little detail on what the definition of a disability. So it's really important to understand this is a legal disability, not a medical disability. Many people think just because you have Social Security disability that you are appropriate or will get a guardian, but it is very different. This is about inabilities to make decisions. So not so much your willingness to make a good decision, but your inability based on your disability and functional inabilities. For state guardianship, we accept adults, which is defined as anyone 18 years or older, but the statute allows for personal and family guardians to be appointed at 17. And this is really for those aging out youth that are 17 going on 18 to ensure that the guardianship is in place before they age out at 17. So just for your information on state guardianship, the majority of individuals that we serve come from these 4 diagnoses. So they have developmental intellectual disability. We have, out of our total as of June 1st of 4,645, we have 1,546 in the supported community living waiver, so in the SCL waiver. And then second to that is individuals in nursing homes or long-term care facilities, and we have about 1,460 in those facilities. So those 2 make up the majority of the individuals under state guardianship. But we also serve people with individuals with severe and persistent mental illness and those that have brain injuries and are in waivers. So we have 3 prongs to guardianship, I like to call, or 3 different branches. So there's the division of guardianship, which is the field services. So my staff operate in all 120 counties. We have 14 regional offices, and they're the ones that are going out and doing regular visits, attending meetings, making those medical decisions, approving residential placement, arranging transportation, those kind of things. And then we have 2 other branches. One's called the fiduciary branch, and the other is the benefits branch. And the benefits branch, they apply for any benefits. So if they are eligible for Social Security, VA benefits, food stamps, anything like Medicaid, Medicare, they apply for those on their behalf. And then our fiduciary branch, they actually are the ones that's managing the funds. They make sure that they're invested, they pay the bills, the rent, and take care of all the financial side. So our individuals, there's not any state funds or federal funds that operate to care for those individuals. They have to utilize the benefits that they're eligible for. So if they need to go into a nursing home, they need to be eligible for either private insurance or Medicaid to be able to pay for the cost of their living. Here's a little information on our trends. So currently, like I said, we have 4,645 individuals under guardianship. You don't see a lot of movement in that over the last 5 years, but I'll give you some information after this about why that is. We have currently 89 field workers throughout the state, so the average caseload is 52. We are working on trying to get that average down into the mid-40s, and so we do have we are increasing staffing, and we have started the hiring process on additional staff. So this is the last 5 years of the new cases we get versus individuals that have passed away or individuals that have resigned. So you can see we have increased a little and kind of steadied out. Last year we had 801 new individuals appointed under guardianship for conservatorship or guardianship. We had 421 individuals that passed away, and then 314, those are the exciting, those are people that resigned. So they either got their rights back or somebody else was identified that could come forward and become the guardian of those individuals. Many of that is family members. And so some of our initiatives, we do have, like I said, a goal of reaching the caseload of 45 per worker. And so we have recently hired and are in the process of hiring another 10 positions, and so that goal can be achieved. We are encouraging our staff and assisting individuals in getting their rights restored. So yearly, we review the individual to determine, are they capable of getting some or any of their rights restored? And a lot of times it's a slow process. So getting maybe 1 or 2 rights restored, the right to make some of their decisions or handle some of their finances, and then slowly progress so that they can prove to the court that they're capable of that. And then we're promoting consistency on the referral process and who's appropriate for the state to be appointed. So we do a lot of education with community partners and with the court system, and just to ensure that those referrals are appropriate.
And now we have Adult Protective Services, otherwise known as APS. The primary focus of APS that most people know of is the investigative arm of it, so conducting those investigations into abuse, neglect, and exploitation. We also provide social services that are really aimed at preventing and remedying that maltreatment that it's occurring. And we also have the emergency protective services option that is designed for individuals that have possibly diminished capacity to make decisions and that they need some additional help through the court system to get their health and welfare needs met. So specifically, we use this definition of an adult. So it is anyone that is 18 or older that has a mental or a physical dysfunction that impairs their abilities to manage their resources, carry out activities of daily living, or protect themselves from abuse, neglect, or exploitation, or hazardous situations without assistance from others. And then the last piece is the may be in need of protective services. So we look at all four of those pieces to say that this person meets that definition of adult for us to do an investigation into potential maltreatment. We do have pathways to services, so our referrals are screened through the hotline. It is the same hotline that's used for child protective services as well. This hotline will screen for anything that's an investigation or what's called an assessment, which we'll talk about here in a second. APS workers will investigate those reports that meet acceptance criteria and make a determination of a finding. And then also we have voluntary services that can be requested through our general adult services. And with general adult services, we do have specific individuals that qualify for these services. So it's a person that is 65 or older who does not have that mental or physical dysfunction, but they are being abused, neglected, or exploited by a family member, a household member, or a caretaker. Another one is an individual 18 or older that has a mental or physical dysfunction, but they are not currently being abused, neglected, or exploited, and they just are requesting services for a vast majority of reasons, like maybe they need assistance with finding alternate housing, different things like that. 18 years or age or older, and they're an alleged victim of domestic violence and they're requesting services. So again, we don't do investigations into domestic violence, but we do offer services to them if they seek out our APS. And lastly, we will assist a young adult that is transitioning from out-of-home care within the past 12 months, and they're requesting services for self-sufficiency. And so with these general adult services, what we're looking at is those voluntary, it's completely voluntary, so they need to be requesting these services or directing someone else to request on their behalf. It is designed to assist them in attaining and functioning at their highest level of self-sufficiency and autonomy, and to maintain in the least restrictive environment of their choice. So this is our APS caseload average over the past 5 years. As you see, COVID dropped our caseloads down quite a bit because the referrals did slow down a little bit, but then slowly they went back up, and now we're seeing a little bit of a decline. We still hope to get below that 30 average caseload to make sure that our adults are getting the attention that they deserve. And this is an average of our referrals that have met criteria over the past 5 years. You can see that those numbers are going down. These numbers are specifically related to the number of calls that we receive or intakes that come in through our hotline or faxes, emails, anything like that. And the substantiated number, although it does look lower, it is also per adult. So it is not a unique intake, it is a unique adult. So you could be substantiated on several times over the course of a year, but it would only capture this number once for you. So with initiatives, we are currently working on self-neglect represents about 41% of all of the referrals that we meet. Self-neglect is an issue that is seen across the entire United States, that there is a focus on whether or not that this needs to be investigated versus assessed. These are individuals that may be experiencing medical concerns, mental health concerns, that they just need that extra support. And we're trying to work towards helping them with their complex issues to get the services that are needed, and help them understand and convince them that these services might help them remain as independently as possible for as long as possible. We are also working on a communication strategy. As I'm sure you all are aware, everyone knows what CPS is in Kentucky, but most people have no idea that APS is even an option for them. And so we are currently working with Barry Dunn to work on a more full communication strategy to meet people where they're at, to help them understand that these are options that they have available, to try to get those extra support so that way they don't end up experiencing maltreatment or end up in a living situation that they really don't want to be in. And lastly, focusing on the prevention. And moving more upstream and understanding that sometimes people are giving you hints that things aren't going the way that they want them to go. And so they just need to be able to reach out to us and ask for help. And so that's what our general adult services is designed for, is to get to people before it gets out of control. So that way we can get them linked with the services to help maintain their health and welfare. It's up to you.
Okay, so the collaboration between Guardianship and APS. So we work collaboratively. Many of our cases, but not all, come from APS. There actually is a decline in cases that come from APS. They are the second referral sources to Guardianship. The first is family. The majority of our cases do come from family referrals. So we refer to each other. APS refers to Guardianship, and then when we have individuals that we feel need additional assistance or victims of abuse, neglect, or exploitation, we make referrals for APS for them to investigate those. And we also have some planning between our staff and both of our staff in different meetings and discussing these individuals. We work collaboratively with community partners to aid vulnerable adults in the community and to help restore rights. APS and Guardianship support the work of CPS, so we both are at the table for these youth that are aging out to assist to see what the next level is needed, whether that be guardianship or just supports as adults. And we also have increased opportunities for training and professional development between the two groups. And that is our presentation. Any questions?
All right, I think we have several coming in the queue. Representative Callaway.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for your presentation today. It was very informative and concise. So what are the top 2 or 3 reasons that a case is substantiated? So, and I'd like to know more about the assessments, what those look like in each of the individual cases. That's one. May I be indulged for one more? My second is I'd like to know, you said that a majority of the cases are found in family environments. Are you seeing nursing homes? They've got kind of a bad rap recently. And how are those cases handled differently than family? Thank you.
So to the first question, the substantiated is just we make that finding if there is a preponderance of evidence. There's not really a reasons why I can say specific reasons why we would substantiate over anything else. We just gather as much information as possible through witnesses or evidence, pictures, things like that to make that finding. We do investigations into nursing homes. We try to coordinate those with the Inspector General's office to help out because we are not medical professionals, and so we need that assistance with the medical piece of it. I don't have specific numbers about the changes in the number of referrals that we've received at nursing homes, so I can't answer that specifically.
So you don't consider those separate? I'm sorry. That's okay. So you don't consider going to visit a nursing home if you have multiple complaints in a nursing home? Is that handled then by somebody else? Or if a family has an accusation against a nursing home? And then again, I would say then how are you justifying moving to guardianship or whatever the case may be, or even pursuing, some type of legal avenue?
Sure. So those investigations are completed the same as anywhere else. We have more specific guidelines on how to do the investigations, but we are investigating individual perpetrators, not agencies as a whole. That would be the Inspector General's office or the Attorney General's office to do that. And to the point of guardianship, just because we substantiate on someone doesn't mean we would go down the route of guardianship, because we are doing assessments. Every time we go out, we're assessing whether that individual has decisional capacity. And there are a lot of our cases where we come across people, they have all their decisional capacity intact and they are just experiencing some kind of maltreatment. So even in a nursing home, we would still focus the same way. Even if they're being abused or neglected, if they're lacking that decisional capacity, we would still enter and look for court action if necessary. But we don't typically pursue court action to get intervened for nursing homes, like against their staff. That would be something that the Attorney General's office or the Inspector General would pursue.
Thank you. Senator Mills.
Caught me off guard, Madam Chairman. No, I'm good. I was just leaning back. I almost felt. I apologize. I'm up here behind the column here. I'm about probably 2 months into visiting multiple times a personal care home in my community, and found that very intriguing to start with. The amount of money that they are required to do what they're required to do with. But I was caught off guard because one of the things they said was that through this process that they're owed thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars from guardianships. And they complained of slow payment, excessive documentation and paperwork that was required. And it seems to me that if a person gets in a guardianship situation and, after a month or so, you would know what those repeated costs are. And why would personal care homes, I'm not saying they are, but why would they be put through the ringer by guardianship or by government to continue to document this over and over and over again? Can you talk about that situation and tell me if I'm off base? And then also I'd like to connect with somebody in your department to help me answer a few more questions and try to solve some things offline. But can you just comment on that? Is that a normal concern that you hear in your department?
So not so much normal, but it is a concern because, as I said earlier, we are utilizing and managing their money. Mm-hmm. So first we have to get access to their money, and it's not a quick process. So we have to apply for benefits on their behalf. If they already have Social Security benefits, then we have to apply to become the payee. And Social Security has a process for that. And just because we're appointed through the courts in Kentucky doesn't mean that Social Security agrees with the appointment of the guardian. So they first have to identify that we are the guardian. They have to agree with our appointment and make us payee. And that usually takes, if they already have Social Security, it takes about 90 days for us to get access to their money. Just imagine if you went into your neighbors, know nothing about them, and have to take over their life. It takes a long time to determine where are the individual's benefits, what kind of assets do they have, where do they bank at. You wouldn't know that, and that's kind of where we are. We don't know with these people at all, and at the point we're appointed, they usually can't tell us any of that information. So we're reliant on community partners, the facilities, whoever that referral source is, to tell us that information. So we have to send letters, send requests to banks, pensions, annuities, anything they have, and ask for them to, number one, honor the appointment of the guardian and conservator, and send us those funds. And it's not a quick process. So federally, it takes us about 6 months or more to get someone's VA benefits. Insurances, annuities, those kind of things, even longer. It takes a separate court order for that. So that is why there's a delay in us getting the money. And then those payments, that comes out of the individual's funds. So if they don't have the funds, then there's not money to pay those facilities. So that could be some of the delay, but I'm more than welcome to talk to you or connect you with our fiduciary branch if you have specific questions.
Thank you. Representative Rourks.
Thank you, Chair. In a previous meeting, I believe, when talking about APS, there was mention of some flexible funding that might be able to be used to bridge some of the services, and I'm thinking it might relate to the general adult services to try to keep people more independent so that they don't end up needing state guardianship. Can you talk about any of those kind of flexible dollars or things that we're getting creative with they being able to do to kind of mitigate folks from really having to enter the APS system in itself to kind of keep them more independent? Or, and if there is, what's working, is there any insight into ways that we could bolster or support more of that to provide some additional support?
Sure. So currently we use funds that were from ARPA funds that will expire this September, but we received Elder Justice Act grant funds, and it's approximately $170,000 a year that we use towards services for adults. So those services can be used at an investigative level or as a general adult services level, so that way anybody can access those. We use those for pest control, for individuals who need new furniture at their homes, they're moving, need first month's rent because of something that has happened. My favorite story is the one that one of the adults had given us a budget, and we had worked through a budget to purchase a used car with the funds to assist them because they couldn't get to their doctor's appointments, which was then harming their health. And it was more costly to take a taxi, and Medicaid wouldn't cover the cost of the transportation. So it was really kind of neat to see how well she did after that. And it ended up saving her money long term in the budget. But we intend to continue to do those supports. We have requested to